Welcome back to the workshop. Recently I have started a new project, and I've also gone out and done some antiquing. So got a marking gauge and a hammer. Both acquired recently in nearby towns. The marking gauge I bought at the Clinton Antiques Festival in early May of this year, and it was a rainy day, but it was clear enough, long enough for us to enjoy the day. There was a little classic car show, and found a tool. The hammer I bought at Morristown, Tennessee, right downtown. Morristown's about the only town in America that has elevated sidewalks, and some of those stores are only accessible via the sidewalks. And the store that I bought this at, the Main Street Country Store, or the Meeting Place Country Store, as it was formerly known, is only accessible via the second floor, and I got this really cool hammer. They also had a lot of other good tools there as well, but I settled on this hammer. So I'm going to go into each one next and how they work. First tool I'm going to talk about is the marking gauge. So this is the marking gauge, and it's kind of neat because it has measurements on it from 0 to 6, and I'd never seen one like that before. However, an internet search reveals that a Stanley number 61 is very similar to this. Now, this did not have any markings on it whatsoever anywhere. It just featured the main piece with the screw down here. It's got the pin up here. Let's release this a little bit. So you have the pin that goes right through. It's very sharp, which is good. There's a screw holding sort of that crease together. And then the block, or fence, has this brass piece here, I suppose, to protect the edge and keep it flat. There's another piece over here, and of course the turning knob, which appears to be original to this, although there's really no way of knowing that. But it works very well. I've already used it on this current project, and you know, it works out. So now, before this one, here are the other marking gauges that I own. Now, this one I bought years ago, like when I first started, and it's one of those, it's a Bora made in England. You see these around. Same concept of a fence and a pin. This one also features two other pins with an adjustable part here for making mortises. That's the primary use of it. It probably could be used for other things as well. For some reason, when I got into woodworking, I just assumed I would be making a lot of mortises, and that has not been the case. I made mortises for some joinery on a table that I made way back when. I don't even have the table anymore. I made it and assembled it inside a room with the idea it could not leave the room unless it was taken apart. And we left that house. So I think that's about the only time I've used mortise. I have a mortise chisel that I bought for that project, and I really haven't done anything since because I'm making puzzle boxes and puzzle cabinets, which are much smaller in size than a table. But so anyway, having this is very helpful if you're going to do that kind of project. But otherwise, I've just mainly been using this one, or this end. And then this one, a graduated marking, it's like I guess what they call the wheel, because it's got this wheel on the end. And so now it has the measurements, and both in imperial as well as in metric. And so I've been using this almost exclusively for the last several years. So let's say, you know, you put it at 2 inches, get your board, and it gives you a nice crease or line on the board that you can then go over with a pencil or whatever. And so I've always liked that feeling of working with this. Working with something like this, again, using your fence, dragging it. It's the same basic concept. So here's your second mark. Here's your first with the wheeled, and your second with this thing, with the borer. Now with the graduated one, also set it, well, let's see, let's set this at 1.25 inches. So it's not the same level as the other two. Just kind of have to hold the board for it. Usually it's a bigger board and you do it along the edge of your workbench. But still making a fairly deep hole. That's pretty good for use in your projects. The other tool I got was this ball peen hammer. It's kind of older, probably meant for metal work, that sort of thing. Again, no indication at all on this where it came from. I'm going to guess this is 20th century, probably mid 20th century. The top of this is a little skewed on the handle. The handle is in such good condition, I wonder if it's even original or if it was later replacement. Although the top looks like it's original, the way it's cracked and formed on here, but again, there's really no way of knowing. This would have been a craftsman's tool, but this part is still pretty flat. I saw it when I walked right into the store. It was right there by the door to the left, and I picked it up and I felt it and I said, man, I like this. I think I'm going to get this, but I'll see what other tools she's got first, because it might have something of more interest. But I ended up getting this, and when I got it, a little tag on it said $24. And I said, does this say 24? And the guy said, we'll give it to you for 20. So that was a good deal for this hammer. Now, already I had this. This is a Vaughan hammer that I bought from Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere, I don't know where. Made in America. This is an 8-ounce hammer, and these ball peens are usually done based on weight. There's an 8-ounce, there's a 13, and maybe a 26. I'm not sure about the next level. This one is certainly bigger than this one, though it may not be the largest. Looking at it, you know, without weighing it, this could be the 13 or the 26. I'm not sure. It's definitely heavier than this. For my purposes, I will primarily be using it for metalwork. And so this is the vise that I got from my dad, and it does rotate. You can certainly do things in the vise, but what I'm more interested in is the anvil, which is what they call the flat thing on the back of it. Let's see if I can get this moved. I haven't messed with and there we go. I haven't messed with this for a long time. So there we go. So this flat surface on the back of the vise is usually referred to as an anvil. It works very similar as to with blacksmithing, except I'm not blacksmithing. My metal is usually cold when I'm working with it. But I like to have a flat surface, and it's got to be flat. If it's not flat, it's not going to work. But here's a piece of metal scrap from a previous project. I think this was created for use with Puzzle Box 5, but I ended up not using it. I've just bent it just now to see if we can use this for hammering it out. And that's the kind of work that I would be using this hammer for. Certainly it's got the flat as well as the round, and there are, you know, reasons for having this round part. Maybe if you're making a bowl of a piece, or you just need a concave surface, you need this for making that work. Prior to this and this, I was using this with this smaller anvil, which is really meant for jewelry work. This is the kind of thing you could buy at a hobby store like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. This one I think I got from Hobby Lobby, and then I mounted it to this block with the idea of putting it into a vise, like a woodworking vise, not this. But the screws have not gone completely through this piece. I probably need better screws, so it's still wiggly a lot. But I've used it for a few things. I mean, obviously, if you can see how you would use it for jewelry with a much smaller hammer for working wire and some of the other different components for doing jewelry work. But I had seen it and thought, you know, I think I could use this for some woodworking or for some very small metal work. So this is the device, or this is the anvil I had used prior to acquiring this from my father a couple years ago. And I'm realizing the best place to keep this new tool is right here in the Gagnon chest, which is what it'll be used for with the rest of the machinery tools, metalworking tools. The door shuts, and that's a great place to hold it. The marking gauge can go right into the Dutch chest with the other marking gauge, and here's the wheeled marking gauge as well. So it's a good place for that to go. So these are the most recent acquisitions to my nifty tool, antique tool collection. When I buy them, I certainly use them, and I certainly will use these. And so still early in the year somewhat, there might be more coming. So if I find more cool stuff, I'll certainly share it in these videos. Thanks for watching.